And we're live.
All righty, I'll start off. Hi, everyone. My name is Akosua Cassaberry. I am the founding CEO of Amakosua, the number one publishing firm based in the Bronx, New York. Maddie, you're gonna have to stay right here, boo, okay? All right. Based in the Bronx, New York. I'm also a three-time author of Back to Gukren to Me, Dear Nice Girl, and Why Every Pregnant Woman Should Write a Book, which you can get access to at amakoso.com for free. And today we're going to be getting insight from Trevor Cassaberry. He's going to introduce himself, but we're going to be getting insight on the For the Hustler Volume 3. And he's going to, answer some questions, go over some quotes, and we're going to go back and forth to get, some better detail on what he's working on.
What's going on, everybody? Trevor Castleberry here, CEO of Castleberry Consulting, where I teach entrepreneurs and executives how to think like
I
engineers.
like when you got on that. You can have it then.
Obviously, in the background, our daughter Madison is here. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm also the author of the For the Hustler book series, which I use to teach unfulfilled employees and executives how to find their skill set, monetize their skill set, and then what to do with the money and the leverage going forward. Today, we're going to give you a little preview of my next installment to the For the Hustler book series, which is For the Hustler Volume 3, How to Negotiate and Get More Than You Asked For. Right? So
Right.
we'll just go over, for those who have seen For the Hustler, each book comes with 50 quotes, 50 passages, and blank pages for you to write any thoughts that spark while you read. So For the Hustler 3 will be in that same format,
We
except
got your
everything is
husband's book.
expertise for negotiation. And the first quote
We
in the
got your
book
husband's book.
is, what is leverage? So in this lesson, we'll be going over my personal uh, definition for leverage, because I learned from Myron Golden and David Shands that when people who create their own definitions in their own words are the smartest people. So,
Mm, I
what
like
is
that.
leverage?
I love that.
I define leverage as the control of an asset or resource that's desired by multiple people, uh, groups, or organizations because they believe that it's required to accomplish their primary goal, right? And then I'll dig a little deeper into it. But again, it's control of an asset or resource that's wanted or desired by multiple people, groups, or organizations because they believe that that asset or resource is required for them to reach their primary goals. Why did I make this definition like this? Because it was necessary. I started my game on leverage challenge, and when you type in leverage, there's so many different uses for the word. I had to use one that applied everywhere, right? I wanted to come up with a universal definition, and that's the definition I came up with. So I guess we could start off, of course. How you feel about the definition?
I love the definition, and negotiating is something that is really, really important in life. And I feel like, I don't know, your book is opening up that conversation, like just on a plain level and how to apply it in all areas. When I think of negotiate, I think of wins and losses, but obviously I like your definition better.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I
Remember, this
think,
this is the definition for leverage, not negotiate.
oh, excuse me. Okay, so can you say the definition again for leverage? Because I mixed it up in my head.
Yeah. Control of an asset or resource desired by multiple people, groups, or organizations because they believe it's required for them to hit their primary goal.
Gotcha. Yes. So yeah, leverage. Okay, leverage is really, really important, and it comes to play in a lot of different things. The only way I can like describe how I apply leverage in my life was when I realized what my primary skill sets were, and I was able to leverage that and create a publishing company because people were looking for editing services, which I was able to provide. So I was able to leverage my skill set to actually produce, monetary gain from it.
Right. And then I like that example you just brought because I'm going to use that to break down why this example applies.
Okay.
Um, Number one, the first piece of it is control of an asset or resource. And the reason I had to, there's a reason I put the word control as opposed to ownership, right? And it's
Mm.
basically because you can control something that you don't own. Like I technically don't own this car, right? I'm paying it down, but like I don't own it, but I control it. So if somebody else needs a car, I have a car. I now have control of this asset slash resource, right? So you don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to own something to have leverage for it.
Mm.
Um, and
Be careful.
obviously you with your editing services, you don't own your ability to edit. You control your ability to edit, right? Like you
Right.
wouldn't sell it off somewhere. um, and the second piece of that first sentence or first line rather is an asset or resource. I didn't
Mm.
want to just put asset because a lot of the investment savvy people would think stocks, real estate, and equity, right? Versus
Mm-hmm.
everybody
Mm-hmm.
that's not into investing may not even have a term or an idea of what asset really means to them right away. And if I
Mm-hmm.
say resource, maybe people are thinking, natural resources like water, air, fire, whatever, heat, whatever, wood. And so I'm not talking about that, although all of those things could apply,
Mm.
which is why I did assets or resources, because you're editing, whether it's somebody who needs the editing may look at it as a resource, but
Mm-hmm.
somebody
Mm-hmm.
who actually is a publisher and needs to hire editors would now look at you like an asset, right? Because they're going to
Mm.
use your services to almost like an investment to make money in the back end, versus the
Right.
other person just paying for it. So it's a resource.
Mm.
So
Gotcha. Gotcha.
that's why the first line of leverage for me is control of an asset or resource. The next line, desired by multiple people, groups, or organizations. Really, what this means is that it comes down to competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there's no competition for the asset or resource that you control, you have no leverage. Because that
Mm.
means, let's say you have your editing services and the only person in the world willing to use them is me. You
Right.
have no leverage. You got to
Right.
sell it to me. And now I could say, well, do it for me for free since you don't have no proof that you're good at it, right? Or something like that. Versus if you've already had, you know, 20 books that you edited, you already have three other clients coming to you for editing services. You got
Yes.
another publisher that wants to use you as an imprint for editing services.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, hold on, now I have competition. So now you have even more leverage because it's like, well, I don't need you, Trevor. I can always just work with, Penguin Publishing, or I
Mm-hmm.
can always work with my other clients or something. So
Right.
that's where the leverage comes in terms of competition. And
Mm.
obviously, your competition isn't always like you. So if you're bidding on something as an individual or a person,
Yes.
you may be bidding against a corporation, right? You may
Mm.
be bidding against a nonprofit for whatever
With a
property
bigger
you want to
budget,
run.
word, or smaller
Right.
budget.
Exactly. You may
Yeah.
be going up against a whole organization or a group of people. So like our old landlord, when he said he was looking for 4 unit homes in the Bronx, he kept losing out to like families of people where it's like eight
Mm.
people coming in with cash, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
if is it eight people coming with more cash than the one person coming with, they got more leverage. Same thing. If there was organizations who were trying to buy the property because they wanted to use it for their business or something, they likely would have had more leverage than him, right? Or at least the seller has more leverage because they don't have to sell to him. They have multiple other options. And the more
Mm.
competition you have, the less leverage you actually have. The more people who are the more people who desire your asset or resource, the more leverage you have.
Mm.
Uh, and then lastly, the last piece of it is, um, it's designed by the multiple people, groups, or organizations because they believe it's required to achieve their primary goal, right? And this
Yes.
last piece is important because we already said you got to control an asset or resource. We already said multiple people have to want it. But lastly, they have to believe that it's required, right? That's the first piece. They have
Mm-hmm.
to already believe that it's required. If you have to convince someone that what you have is required and they're gonna need it, like if you want to get to Brooklyn and I'm trying to convince you, hey, you're gonna need a car. That means that I don't have any leverage. You have the leverage because you probably know I don't need your car. I could take the bus or the train, right? I
Mm-hmm.
could take a flight,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. So,
Mm-hmm.
the person has to, or the people, the organizations, the groups, they have to already believe that your asset or resource will get them to the promised land. If they don't
Right.
already believe that, if you're a salesperson, don't waste your time. Wait until they do believe and then give your pitch. If you're
Mm.
going for a negotiation, don't waste your time in a negotiation trying to convince someone of something. Wait until they actually want it. If you have to deal with a time crunch, then that's different. But all things being equal, the other parties have to believe that what you have is required, right? Not an
Mm-hmm.
option, not highly recommended, but required.
Right.
And then the last piece, to achieve their primary goal. So you might have a great, my primary goal, may be to move to Ghana, right? But I know in
Yes.
order to get there, I have to, I don't know, I gotta have let's say by the time I get there, I want to make sure I got three dashikis, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, my primary goal is still going to Ghana. So you might have a bunch of dashikis that everybody wants and stuff, but like that's not my primary goal. So you don't have the leverage. Now,
Mm-hmm.
once I already have everything ready and I'm about to go to Ghana, then it's like, hey, I got those dashikis. Cause now my primary goal has been met. So now I'm off to a new primary goal. Right. So you have
Mm-hmm.
you want to don't waste your leverage on someone who, whatever goal you're gonna help them achieve is goal number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on their priority list. You want to find out what's
Mm.
their number one priority and use your leverage to help them achieve that. If you
Right.
only have leverage to help them achieve that second thing, then go find somebody who has leverage to help them get that first thing, team up with it, and now you have even more leverage to help them hit the primary and secondary goal all at once.
Mm.
So that's the lesson I wanted to teach today. Again, my name is Trevor Castleberry. Akoso, any thoughts?
That was excellent. You know, I'm a big fan of the For the Hustler book series, and I've read them multiple times. They're some of my favorite books. So I'm really excited about this third book. I got to get a preview of the quotes, so I know how good it's gonna be. But I don't know. It just feels good. Obviously, I'm coming from it as a publisher, and just the format of the book, the style of the book is just so easy to digest for the everyday person. And that's what I like the most, because it gets you out of the mindset of thinking that, maybe it's too late for me to get these skills. It's too late for me to start thinking this way. And the book just debunks that completely, and just has you start at a level where you can comprehend and actually apply it and get the outcomes and the goals that you're looking for. But I have some very random fun questions for you that
Okay,
won't take
cool.
a lot of time. It's just
I
two
got
questions.
I got a
All
couple
right.
minutes
Okay, cool. So would you rather ghostwrite your book or write them yourself? And why?
to write on myself.
Okay.
Come on.
My people.
Yeah, I'm not hiring a ghostwriter, even if I had all the money in the world.
Listen, some people can't even sit down and write, so they have to get a ghostwriter. But then
I
there are
I
those of
feel
us
you.
who
Yeah, no, I don't need a ghostwriter. If I am limited time wise, I will find a way to get it. Listen, my first book, I wrote it by hand. Okay.
yes,
I
he
don't need a
did.
ghostwriter. I still
And a
got the notebook.
composition book.
Right. And while I was on the job in this same car, yeah, no, I was in the 2016 version of this car, but in the same type of car, writing in my notepad on construction sites until all 50 quotes was done. So I would never get a ghostwriter.
Nice. All right. And question number two. Can you describe what becoming an author has been like for your business?
So I always I told this story quite a few times, but I remember when I first started my business, a lot of people, were happy that they were always, contact me for business advice and startup advice and stuff. And eventually, I really got into the operations side of things,
Mm-hmm.
particularly online operations. So figuring out the funnels and how to integrate them to your text messages and your emails and how to follow up and do all these other things, right?
Yes.
And that raised my prices because I had a lot more value. But unfortunately, the my clients at the time, or my clients before I raised my prices, they didn't see the value in the operations because they didn't already have a business. So
Right.
it actually like dropped my sales completely because the people who I was targeting could not afford my new prices, but they also didn't see the as much value in my new offers because they were new to business. So the operation side of it wasn't as appealing to them versus if someone else was already functioning and struggling in the business, those were the people now booking me. So I had to find new clients. Um, I figured
Mm.
while I'm looking for new clients, I still need a way to monetize my previous clients and my previous audience. And of course, after giving you every excuse I could come up with, you convinced me to write For the Hustler Volume 1, which is available for free at hustlerbooks.com, as y'all can see in the banner. So it was definitely a great journey. One, writing the book by hand, getting an actual book cover for the first time done from a
Yes.
professional photo shoot. So that was lovely to see, right? Like,
Yes.
and then the fact that I was able to sustain my business, right? So,
Yeah.
all those people who could no longer afford my consultations at the time, let's say I went to like $100 an hour, they could afford a $20 book. So it
Yep.
was like, I still would offer them what I had. And when they said they couldn't afford it, it's, hey, instead of sitting with me for an hour, you can read this book on your own time.
Hmm.
And the whole purpose of Photo Hustler 1 was to teach those people how to identify their primary skill sets and then use different options of monetizing it.
Yes.
So it definitely, saved me from almost considering quitting Castleberry Consulting. Um,
Wow.
for,
That's
for the
amazing.
Hustler Volume 2, I released that during quarantine in 2020. And that was a whole nother journey because I had a different concept for the book where it was
Hmm.
all about investing. And I was actually gonna, instead of having
Very
50
different field.
businesses, right, instead of highlighting 50 businesses, I was making 50 different index funds or yeah, basically 50 different index portfolios of
Hmm.
stocks. And I was
Hmm.
gonna attach one to each quote. And I think I made like 12 of them before the platform that I was using to make them and trade stocks was bought out. So all 12 of those indices were gone. And then I
Mm.
had to start from scratch and come up with a whole new concept. So I went back and highlighted another 50 businesses. But it,
Yes.
it made it a better experience because I got to understand like the concept of one, stock market investing, which I already was doing. It
Yep.
gave me more time to look into real estate, which is another concept in the book. And lastly, equity, because I got to see what it's actually like to invest time and money into one thing and then it
Hmm.
completely fails and then you have to regroup and come back around.
Mm.
And Fun Hustler 2 is all about once you are able to monetize your 'cause my ideal reader were people with jobs that just were unfulfilled at work, right? Because that was
Yes.
me at that point. After Fun Hustler Volume 1, they should at least be able to find their skill set one and then either find a job to monetize it or a way to monetize it on their own away from work.
Hmm.
Once they were done doing that, now they should have enough capital that there's something left after they're done paying their bills, right?
Mm.
And so they need a place, they need something to do with it. And For the Hustler 2 is all about what's the easiest way for you to start investing? Because everybody comes
Yes.
from a different background. And
And
some
figuring
people is
out
going
your
to be
identity as an investor.
exactly. And so some people have easy access to stocks, some have easy access to real estate, others to equity. But it's
Hmm.
about figuring out what all three are, you know, which one you actually have the easiest access to, as far as, information, resources, and price. And
Hmm.
then lastly, what plan will you have regarding investing? If you're in real estate, will you go commercial or residential? Will you go luxury or affordable?
Mm.
Things of that
Yes.
nature. So all of those kind of questions were all in For the Hustler 2. And of course, my
Yes.
favorite my favorite chapter was debunking investment myths. So, right, and now writing For the Hustler 3, like I haven't even written the passages yet. I only have the 50 quotes. I know the passage, I just haven't written them yet. Right,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
already my favorite book.
Wow. Oh
It's
my
already my
God.
favorite one out the book series. So
Wow.
like it's the only this is the first time I ever even decided, oh, I'm going live every day until the book is out for
That's
any of
true.
my books. So yes,
That's
I will
true.
be here. However you're watching this, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, I'll be here every single day with the beautiful Acosta Cassavery, giving you more insight from For the Hustler 3. But if you'd like to catch up, if you'd like to figure out your skill set, monetize them, and figure out another uh, place to put your capital as opposed to a savers account that's earning you less than inflation, For the Hustler Volumes 1 and 2 will get you there. And you can access both ebooks for free at hustlerbooks.com. And there's also upsell there where you can actually buy the hard copies as well.
Definitely. Yes. I just want to add to, babe, because I was able to see the impact that For the Hustler had on people. Specifically, I'm going to talk about our personal trainer, Hassan Rose, who
Mhm.
literally said that he was ready to write his book after reading For the Hustler.
Right.
And the reason why I like that so much, because he's not the only one, and the book has that impact on people, but he followed through with it, and it was just, you know, that clear picture of you can get someone who's not a writer. Like Hassan wouldn't consider himself a writer, but like you'll find people who are, you know, not writers who write books, and they outselling people who consider themselves really talented writers. And I think that was like my biggest aha moment with just watching what your book did once it was published and seeing people's reaction. So yeah.
I appreciate that.
Of
Again,
course.
I think this is our way out. I'll take us out. Again, my name is Trevor Castleberry, CEO of Castleberry Consulting, where we teach entrepreneurs and executives how to think like engineers. I'm also the author of the For the Hustler book series, which you can find at hustlerbooks.com. And if you haven't looked at the caption already, check out my free negotiation clinic that will teach you a nice bit of the stuff that you'll get from For the Hustler Volume 3, the Partnership Negotiation Clinic for entrepreneurs, and then we also have the Management Negotiation Clinic for managers. So here's the link for managers. 3, 2, 1. And here's the link for entrepreneurs. And again, I was here with my beautiful wife, Akoswa Castleberry. Do you have any last words for our audience?
You guys, if you're looking for a publishing consultation, you can get access to that. Book me on my Instagram page. And if you're looking for access to my work, you can get them for free at amakosawa.com. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you're watching this on the replay, please feel free to comment below. Let us know what you think about the first lesson. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.